When my wife walked out on me, it felt like the ground had collapsed beneath my feet. We had been married for 4 years. Life wasn't perfect, but I believed that love was enough to hold us together. I worked relentlessly, often juggling 2 jobs, just to make sure we had the basics covered. One evening, she looked straight at me with an emptiness in her eyes and said she couldn't continue living in poverty. Without a second thought, she packed her belongings and left. I pleaded with her to stay, but she insisted she deserved a better life. Her words cut deep, leaving me shattered and humiliated. For months, I lived in silence, haunted by the memory of her rejection. I kept asking myself what my greatest mistake had been, other than not being wealthy. Nights were the hardest. I would lie awake imagining her wrapped in another man's arms, smiling in ways she no longer did with me. But instead of drowning in that pain, I made a choice. I pushed harder. I vowed to rebuild, not for her, but for myself. Slowly, my fortunes began to shift. An opportunity came when a business partner saw potential in me. Together, we built something solid. Money started coming in, but more than wealth, I gained respect, confidence, and stability. 2 years later, an envelope arrived that nearly made me laugh. It was her wedding invitation. She was marrying a rich man, and had the audacity to send me a card. Maybe she wanted me to feel small again, or perhaps she wanted to show me what I'd lost. For a moment, I thought of tossing it aside, but then it struck me, this was my chance. I wasn't the broken man she had abandoned anymore. On her wedding day, I arrived in a sharp, tailored suit, stepping out of a car that turned heads. Whispers rippled through the hall the moment I walked in. Old friends who once pitied me as the poor husband now stared in disbelief. I carried myself with calm confidence, exchanging greetings with people who had become part of my world. When she finally noticed me, her smile froze, and her eyes widened in shock. Panic flickered across her face. Later, she approached me, her voice unsteady. "You came," she said softly, almost unsure of herself. I gave her a polite smile. Of course. I wouldn't miss such a big occasion. Her groom sensed something was off, but she quickly tried to mask it. I showed no anger, no bitterness. I simply let her see what she thought I'd never become. During dinner, some guests asked about my life. I shared my journey, my company, my travels, and the work I had been doing. I wasn't boasting, I only spoke the truth. The crowd was impressed, and I noticed envy flicker in her eyes as she listened. Her wealthy husband shifted uncomfortably, as though he realized she still carried regrets. At one point, she pulled me aside. "Why didn't you tell me you would succeed?" she whispered. I chuckled lightly. "Because love should never be measured by wealth. But you taught me that lesson the hard way." She had no response. Her eyes watered, but I felt no sympathy. The rest of the evening, I enjoyed myself. I laughed, danced, and left with my head high. I hadn't gone there to create a scene or stir trouble. I went to show her what she had thrown away. She had chosen money over loyalty, and in the end, she lost both. Driving away that night, I never looked back. My revenge wasn't about ruining her wedding, it was about proving that the man she once dismissed had risen beyond her reach. She would go on with her new life, but she would always carry the memory of what she abandoned. For the first time in years, I slept peacefully. I realized revenge didn't have to be loud or cruel. The sweetest form of it is simply living well, becoming everything they thought you couldn't be. She left me because I was poor, but when she tried to flaunt her new life by inviting me, she ended up staring at the life she could have had. And that was all the revenge I needed.